Martin Suter, who made a career of being a sailor, has been told by a judge that he will have to serve a life jail sentence after killing his ex-wife as she visited their son's grave on his anniversary. The wicked and cruel man called Martin was no saint. In fact, this was the same man that had admitted guilt to an indecent crime on a teen who is under 14 and a girl, and he probably only admitted to that crime to try and stop the prosecution from going after him for other, probably more serious crimes. Martin was told that he would serve a minimum term of 27 years in jail, which means the 68-year-old will likely die in H&P. So what happened for Martin to snap? On July 24th of 2023, Martin had travelled to Crofton Cemetery in Stubbington, Hampshire. He had worn dark clothes and packed with him a kit that included a large kitchen blade, and then took up a hiding place in the cemetery. Martin Suter had waited for hours, not one nor two either, it was more. He waited until his ex-wife, 71-year-old Ann Blackwood, would make her way to the cemetery on what would have been their son Christopher's 36th birthday. It's safe to say that the parents had suffered trauma. After all, they lost their son. You see, Christopher had unalived himself when he was 15 years old. A year later, the parents could not cope with the trauma and the loss, and they decided to get a divorce. Now Martin watched as Anne appeared in the distance on her bike. Anne rode closer, got off her bike, and then headed towards Christopher's grave. She had scissors with her and also flowers. It's not known if Martin had leapt out from his position and then pulled out the blade and then jabbed the item into Anne's back. Whether she was unaware of Martin preying on her, or whether Martin had actually overpowered his ex-wife, and I say that because the pathologist noted that there were no defense wounds on Ann Blackwood, which meant that she was either taken by surprise or she was overpowered very quickly before she could react. What we do know is Martin Suter had callously and with intention wanted to kill his ex-wife, with no concern for other mourners nearby who had gathered at loved ones' graves. Martin approached Ann Blackwood and then drove the blade into her back with so much force that the blade snapped completely. Still not happy with the actions that played out, the crazed Martin had then grabbed a pair of scissors that Ann Blackwood had brought with her, and then he jammed it into her neck. Martin Suter in total bladed Ann Blackwood a total of 19 times, that being neck and shoulder, and then as Ann Blackwood collapsed to the ground, rarely moving nor breathing, at 3:39 p.m, Martin dialed 999, and he told police that he had aimed someone, stating, "I have killed my ex-wife, I've just bladed her." The dispatched operator who answered the call described Martin as being calm. Martin also told the operator that he had killed Ann Blackwood because she had ruined his life. Martin had also blamed Anne for the death of their son. Now Martin then made a second call, this time to his second wife, where he confessed to his crime yet again, but also alluded to the crime against the teen that was under 14, and says, "I know I'm going to jail, I may as well go for this." In court, Martin's diagnosis came up, depression and autism, but that still did not give Martin a right to take a life. Martin has never expressed remorse, but his defense team says it may be in part due to that autism, where he is unable to rationalize certain emotions or understand what is done. But Martin Suter will have the next 27 years to think about his actions. It's ironic that Martin Suter blamed Ann Blackwood for ruining his life, yet he stole the innocence of a teen under 14. Let me know your thoughts on the case. Condolences. Stay safe.